Willie Bells, Deep Inside the Music. We have a new segment, chaptered interview segment called Near Misses. We're starting out with Kevin Steele, Roxx Gang, Glam Metal, Hair Metal, Juggernaut, 1983 fucking Kingmaker. You got to hear this guy's story. We're going deep.
They're the most loyal fans, but they do not want you to change.
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking, well, it's safe. Okay, yeah. Did you get that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So, like when I started the Gurus, like a lot of Roxx Gang fans said wanted nothing to do with that. I gotta do what makes me happy, you know?
Oh, yeah, you do. And so many, you have bands like Tesla, because that's where it came from.
Yeah. I think the difference is Roxx Gang being more, I think our image, more glam than Tesla, like. And a lot of people that were into that shit, and then all of a sudden, you know, I was getting kind of rootsy, and
no, they're like, what the fuck?
You know, David Bowie didn't stay Ziggy Stardust.
That's right.
And I got to a certain age, and I was like, I knew right from the start that if you're in a glam band, your window of opportunity is small, because I didn't want to be like a 40-year-old glam rocker, you know? So many of my peers, age-wise, that I came up with, like, they look like fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah. It's true.
Glam rockers.
Yeah.
Even out of all of them, Roxx Gang was the dark. Would you agree? You were the darker version of what? Less colorful, more...
I think a lot of that had to do with us, being from Florida, or actually for not being from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a glam look, but plus my glam influences were like 70s. I grew up, I love fucking T-Rex and Matza Hoople, the New York Dolls, and
there was something different about that glam angle. It was mystical, and it was cultural. It was art. Yeah. And then, I mean, that's why when I see, I was there, man, watching the shows. I've been to a lot of shows, man, as a kid, getting my fucking chest thumped into the ground, which is another thing I'd like to touch about is the mechanics back then, the sheer fucking, the rigs you had to use, and hearing yourself sing with 2 half stacks and a freaking drummer on a riser. Yeah. Man, these days people got in
here. Full stacks, man.
Oh,
full
yeah.
Stacks.
Oh, shit. Really?
I hear and shot.
What? Damn, so the monitors had to be sold out in order for you to hear stuff.
It would be like a full PA pointed back at you.
Wow.
And that's the only way you could do it was iron.
Yeah, you had side fills, gigantic side fills pointed at you.
That had a PA-like thump to them.
Yeah.
So that had to be energizing, man. Was that pretty fucking rad, when you have that much thump and power and everybody's locked in and you're doing...
It was, and at that age, for me, like, I had no concerns, like, about my hearing.
Sure.
I remember that.
Which I kind of regret, I see kids these days, putting in their earplugs and stuff, and I'm like, damn. Maybe I've been a little bit more careful, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just the energy of it all, I don't see it being duplicated these days.
I agree.
No, the physics of it. I mean, that you had to rely on that. There was no tricks.
Yeah.
Maybe we had a nice little Yamaha reverb unit.
Yeah. A little reverb, maybe a delay.
Maybe you got right.
Rolling 555.
Yes.
You had that.
That's what I started with. Yeah.
That was your signal chain.
Yeah.
So you brought it for the vocals only.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's how you do
that. Right.
Then it's getting in there. Hey. I got the gimmick.
I got to the point where I started carrying my own little rack around my monitor mix, I had the delay I wanted and everything right in my monitors, separate from what was going in the house.
So he's getting the full on power and the produced vocal sound that gets you into the fucking performance, man. That's
absolutely.
And you can get that now with all these separate monitor mixes, but you had to bring it.
When we first started, clubs didn't have, when I was playing in like the mining company and Mr. T's Club 19 and those kind of places, like you had to bring in your own PA, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like we pull up with a big fucking truck with a whole big light rig and sound system. Light man, you had a whole crew, guitar tech.
So you would hire the whole crew and all that?
Yeah, we had drum tech, guitar tech.
Wow. Gave everybody something, man.
Yeah.
That's community too, man. It takes people to do those kind of things. Now it's like Meyer makes 12. It's handy. It's handy.
You know, it got to the point with Roxx Gang once grunge came out and a lot of the big rock clubs closed.
Yeah.
And our gigs, the bars we were playing in were getting smaller. We had to scale down. We'd pull up these gigantic rigs and people were, you know, you can't even bring that shit in here, you know? And, it was like overnight, man, the program directors all across the country said, we're not playing this stuff anymore. We're playing this. And I remember when we were recording things you never done before, the first album, we recorded it at the studio called, the Enterprise in Hollywood. One of the owners was, do you remember Lost in Space? The television.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, Billy Mummy played Will Robinson. He was one of the owners of the Enterprise. So, you know, we'd be going, attention, Will, like, you heard that a fucking million times, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember sitting in the lobby watching MTV while somebody was doing guitar or drum tracks or something. And there was the first Nirvana video and Soundgarden video before our album even came out. So we didn't know it, but they pulled the rug out from under us before we really even got started.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's the industry over-involving. Those two things could have easily existed.
That's true.
Together at the same time. It's just
and being from Florida, bumfuck Florida, like we didn't get signed till I think it was 87 we got signed. And then there was we had to wait almost a year for Bo Hill produced our first album. Everybody in the band was a big fan of the band Kicks.
Oh, hell yeah.
They just put out Midnight Dynamite and we were like, we want Bo Hill. And that was one of the good things about being on Virgin. They said, who do you want to produce your album? When it came time to do our first video, they got us Nigel Dick. He's the guy who did Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Awesome. The video was No Way Out or Scratch My Back?
No Easy Way Out.
No Easy Way Out. Also in the badass video game, Saints Row, all the car chases scenes that have that track bumping. Yeah, guys. That's a good
awesome.
video game. There would be no Grand Theft Auto without Saints Row.
That's super cool.
Wade Hayes was a fantastic guitar player.
Right, man. He's a ripper.
He was a shredder for sure.
Is he,
I could go toe to toe with any of those guys in that era. My original guitar player in Roxx Gang that started Roxx Gang was a guy named Eric Carroll. And one day he was bridge fishing and he was on a bridge with this guy who he owed a bunch of money to for.
It was the 80s.
And somehow he fell off the bridge and broke his neck.
What?
And we were just starting to get some momentum, like we were getting some national press.
Do you know where was he fishing out? Like deer or something?
I don't know, down by one of the, I'm not a fisherman. We felt like we were right on the verge of getting signed at the time. Kerrang over in England did a big write-up on us. They were comparing us to like early Aerosmith and Rat and stuff, and we were like, oh,
I got that. That tracks.
So all of a sudden, that happened. And it really, knocked me for a fucking loop. I was like, I didn't know whether to keep going. I was devastated. He was like my best friend, too. You know? And 5 of the songs on the first album, including this one and Scratch My Back, were written by me and him.
Wow.
And so I figured the best tribute I could give him is to keep going and get that record deal and get those songs out there.
Yeah.
So people would hear his music. You know?
And that seems like such an important fucking dynamic in successful rock.
100%.
Is that collaborative between that singer and that guitar player? They're the guys that fucking, you'll see it in almost every.
The engine room, man.
So
propels.
I was me and Eric were like bros, and I was very, like, protective, I guess you could say, like brothers are, like, and I thought he was the greatest guitar player. And one day he came, I was at the bar the other night, and I saw this kid playing, Wade Hayes, He's going, he's way better than I am on it. And then I go, no, he's not. He couldn't be. He's like, whoa,
Where is this?
so I thought Eric was the greatest, you know?
Yeah.
But, and Wade came, he joined the band, and, Wade was hard to deal with, but he could shred.
Go like a tiger by the tail sometimes, or?
He was a very sweet kid. He's half Japanese. He's the sweetest kid, very humble. But man, he was like, you know, those t-shirts, instant, add alcohol, instant asshole.
Yes.
He just turned into a freaking, it was Jekyll and Hyde, man.
Man, that's when you gotta stay the fuck away. Does that? That's a chemical reaction.
It happens.
But he was
I turned into the nicest guy you ever met.
I'm a mellow drunk myself.
Yeah. It's like,
I want to start hugging everybody. And
Right.
yeah, but he was a shrimp, fucking ripped and saved the day.
He did.
Yeah.
And Jeff had been bugging me and Eric to get into our band, and the other guitar player. And Eric would say, well, you got to talk to Kevin, it's his band. And then he'd bug me, and I'd go, you got to talk to Eric, it's his band.
That's great.
And then when Eric went, he was like, Jeff saw his opportunity and he got in there. But we did an album-like demo called Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. I think it was that and our live show that got us signed to Virgin. Carl Kennedy produced Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. He's the drummer for the Rods, and his early productions were like heavy bands like Anthrax and Overkill and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was looking for something that had a little more widespread appeal, right? Eric died I think it was the night before Carl was supposed to come down here and start doing pre-production with us and he was so cool. He was like, I can't imagine. He was saying like, you know, my bandmates are all like brothers, and I can't imagine if I lost one of them. And the minute you guys are back on your feet, I'll come back down, you know? And, so we got Jeff first, actually. And Carl said, look, Jeff's good, but he's no Eric, and I think you need an additional guitar player. And then Wade had already been in the band and flaked off one time. And I said, Wade, you got to come in back. And
so he's kind of familiar with the material?
Yeah.
Yeah. Drop him in there.
So we already had 5 songs that Eric and I had written, and then 5 more songs got written right away. And Virgin actually came here. We did a showcase at Club 19. The label, Virgin Music, was there, but Virgin Publishing came also. And that guy was super cool, and he really loved us. And he turned to Virgin Music and said, I'm giving these guys a publishing deal, whether you give them a record deal or not. And I think that clinched it.
That might have pushed it. Yeah.
Plus, we looked like cartoon characters back then. You know?
Psycho, dark. Yeah.
But because, you know, it was like 87, and then it wasn't until like 88 that we started making the album, because we had to wait for Bo for almost a year before he was available.
Wow.
And then Virgin decided you can't put out this baby band's album at Christmas time and compete with all the big boys. So they held back the release of the album. So it wasn't until 89 that the album came out. And by then, grunge had started, and you know, we sold 250,000 records, but I honestly believe, in all humility, that if we would have been signed a year or two before, or if we could have got around, I think that album would have
You'd have
platinum.
8 more quarters of sales and you can probably easily extrapolate that from the 250 that was sold when you know, if you'd have backed that up, 3 million records, you know, because that's the only way you could get music too. And they were, you were the first American rock band signed by Virgin. So we were. And the plan had to be to push. Plan had to be to push them. You know?
Yeah. But Virgin was a double-edged sword because, like I said, they had the money, man. They got us, you know. Who do you want to produce? Who do you want for your video? But they didn't have the experience of promoting a band like us. They had all these artsy-fartsy bands before. You know, now they've had, you know, the Stones, Bowie, Iggy.
You're right. This is when they're
Lenny Kravitz have all been on Virgin, but we were their first hard rock signing, and I bumped heads with the label president a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Because of what, but it's tough when you're this kid, I'm a kid in my mid-20s and I'm, to go up against the president of your label and say, I don't think that's a good idea. They're like, I'll tell you a story. One of our A&R guys was a guy by the name of Lyrique Weymouth. He's Tina Weymouth from the Talking Heads' brother. And after we did the first album, we demoed out the songs for the second, what we thought was going to be the second album on Virgin. And he said, they're really good, but you're not pushing the envelope. He goes, remember that song with the Divinals, When I Touch Myself?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, you need something like this.
What?
And I was like, this guy is fucking nuts. What planet are you
For
on?
real? That's crazy.
Roxx Gang.
This is what you hear on the way up through the.
that's
this is conversations you have.
Jeez.
That guy's probably a senator now or something. Making the same dumbass decisions.
Yeah, probably. God, that's crazy.
Oh my God. Well, then the touring, did they get you out on the road and tighten the band up?
All of a sudden, we had a big old tour bus, and
what was the touring life like with were you sharing stages with bands? Were you in arenas or
both? We did we still played in a lot of, there was big ass rock clubs back then.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But we did do some, theaters and smaller arenas. We went out, did a stint with, Warrant of all bands.
Okay.
You mentioned how we were a darker thing. And when the backlash came for all those hair bands, we got lumped right in with all those bands. And I never really felt much of a kinship to any of those bands.
It's more of a vampire fucking vibe to me.
Right.
And
then you had interviewed a vampire right around that.
Maybe like LA Guns or something. But not not
Cherry.
Roxx Gang was not singing about cherry pie or unskinny Bob.
Right.
We were fucking live fast, die young.
Right.
I put a red rose on my grave.
Yeah, I'd throw you in more with the Guns N' Roses and the edgier.
But because of our look, we got lumped in with,
Yeah, it was a sweep. So it was a sweep because of this ratings. The radio industry went, I don't know the details on it, but I should. I might put them in the thing.
Yeah.
Because I saw this interview with Mellencamp. And he was right around this time in 81, 82. Radio went to a different rating, system, the way what gets played and what doesn't get played. And it killed regional successful bands that were getting a lot of play in this area. And that was counting for them. So, coincidence? Hardly. It was happening around this time too. So it just made things more, basically I'm saying, more fucking challenging, yet still.
Tampa Bay was a big market back in the mid 80s. And then, look at it now.
Touring with Warrant, any kind of memories come to mind?
They didn't really associate too much with us. But one time I came off stage and I can't remember, I was young and full of piss and vinegar, but I was pissed off about something. And I came off stage and I just walked to the backstage area and I had a tall boy and I slammed it on the top of this stool. And of course, all the beer shot out the top and went over, their bass player's guy, Jerry Dixon, I think his name is. And their little down boy outfits were hanging on the hangers and my beer went all over. And the next day they were going, somebody, I don't remember, somebody was telling me, you need to go on the tour bus and, cause our buses would be parked. You need to go on there, say you're sorry to Jerry. What the fuck? And they go, really, you should do it. It would really smooth things out. All right.
And the scene, what about in the scene around here too, before you're getting going?
People don't realize, Roxx Gang started when MTV wasn't here yet. No one had seen Motley Crue or Poison or so. So I'm dragging my band members kicking and screaming into this. I'm a kid from Cleveland, okay? That's when I, growing up on Bowie and Matt the Hoople and T-Rex. And I come down here to Florida. It was kind of a culture shock.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there weren't some cool people that were into those bands, but not a lot.
Right.
And so I'm dragging my band members in. You know, those are my influences, and they didn't want to put on eyeliner shit, you know, until they found out how many chicks they were pulling. Then all of a sudden they couldn't get that eyeliner on quick enough, you know.
Understood.
But then people thought, because of the timeline for Roxx Gang, there were people who thought we were jumping on that bandwagon. When in fact we predated, you know, because I'd never seen any of those bands when I was getting all glammed out. It was because I was into the New York Dolls and Mark Bolan.
That's awesome, because you guys may have started that here, because it certainly took off, man.
Yeah.
Rocket Club didn't come out of nowhere. They were there for, so you were there at the front,
I think we did. Like, we were certainly one of the first. I remember we were playing at this one bar when I remember I had silver spandex on. This is years before we got signed. And they asked us not to come finish our residency, whatever. They said not to come back because my pants.
No way.
It was pants. They said there was dudes that were complaining that their girlfriends.
No way. That is amazing.
We're talking about,
Which I love.
Pants. Yeah. Talking about pants.
Yeah.
Which, I loved. The rest of the band wasn't too thrilled.
Right.
Nice.
Like, what the fuck, man?
And we used to play that upstairs bottle club where you didn't start playing until like 2 a.m, right? And that was a rough fucking crowd.
Yes.
And there would be fights. There'd be pool sticks, and we'd just be going, keep playing.
They love the pants.
And you come out and it's morning. And you hear you got mascara running down your face. And all these Tampa freaking rednecks staring at you. Like,
with that morning sun.
Yeah.
We always made friends with like either some big biker type or redneck type, then made close friends with them and got them into so that we would have some protection.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You got to know those people for sure.
Because, Roxx Gang, we were lovers, not fighters.
That's right.
So the jams, man.
Right
on. So everybody kind of got along in that scene when it started getting bigger. Well, you guys would have been at the top of it. So then you got your Juliets come in and your...
Wow, Juliet, yeah.
I remember going to see Lefty, which evolved into, Kenny anyways. Kenny McGee ended up becoming Juliet. But, I don't know. Roxx Gang never played well with the other kids on the playground. There was a lot of jealousy, to tell you the truth.
Had to be competitive too, because
it was highly competitive. And Roxx Gang gets signed by Virgin Records, and all those guys hated us. All of a sudden,
instead of congratulate, they hate.
So weird.
That's
human
instinct. Weird.
Yeah, you would think like musically everybody would be happy about all that. Oh, sweet, my brothers are fucking doing it.
Right.
But
Eyes are on this town now.
Yeah, kicking down some doors and stuff, and bringing some attention to. But no,
right.
Wade and Robbie, the bass player, Strychnine Stein, we called them. Those guys were a terror, and they'd be in the bars, and they were animals, and they were like, they came across like idiot savants, like they can play their instruments really well, but like, and people were like, how the fuck did those guys get signed,
Fucking Vikings, man.
And, they didn't understand that was part of why we got signed, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But it was, you look at a guy like a Johnny Thunders type character, and, he's so cool and everything. But when you're in a band with a Johnny Thunders type guy, it's not so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And there was I remember one night we were on the road, and those two were rooming together, and they had to have a guitar tech in their room, sleeping on a cot. There's a metal foldable cot. They decided that they didn't want the guy sleeping in their room that night. And they went out on the balcony and threw his cot over. And I mean, there's a parking lot below. They could kill somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And I would go into in the morning, we'd have somebody knocking on our door. Time to get up. Right? the tour manager,
Yeah.
waking us all up. Got to get dressed, get on the bus.
Yeah.
And I would go into their rooms because as a singer, a lot of times Brett would put me in my own room because those guys would stay up till
You can't be
they
talking.
wouldn't go to sleep.
You shouldn't even
They'd
be talking all
drinking all
night.
night.
That's
and
the
if
biggest.
I partied with them all night, right, I'd lose my voice.
Right.
You
You
know?
need to be talking.
You got to get a little sleep, and you got to. So I would go into their rooms in the morning, and the carpet would be wall to wall, broken beer bottles and Jack Daniels bottles.
Shit.
And you know, we would get off the road for a while, and I'd have a big old wad because, like, you know, I didn't have to pay any penalties, but I mean, things would happen, and
Sure.
you know, you had to pay for
you
those
pay for
kind
the
of
shit,
shit.
and they directly had to. Yeah, so they're just like,
How come Kevin had all his money? Because he's not a fucking fool.
Yeah, I can stop breaking shit.
There were times when it was a little bit of a drag and it felt like kind of like a babysitter because they were so out of control.
Yeah.
I remember in Los Angeles doing a photo session and Virgin had like hair and makeup people for us there and stuff. And Wade is like feeling up the hair.
Oh, shit.
And like, Wade, you can't do that shit.
he's on autopilot. He's autonomous.
That was before Me Too.
Oh, 100%. Oh, man.
There's a little bit of delirium in there, and then this alternate reality of, you know, I'm fucking touring with
Oh,
Roxx.
yeah. No, that's his
Wow.
fantasy world,
Yeah.
man. It's amazing.
Our drummer was only like, I think, 18 or 19 years old. The whole Roxx Gang lineup shifted right before we got signed.
Oh, wow.
It was like, I was the only original member all of a sudden. And Eric having passed away. There's 2 new guitar players. And then we got a bass player and a key set. And then we needed a drummer all of a sudden. I know this kid, he was from York, Pennsylvania. I know this kid up in York. This drummer comes down. This kid thought he was a great drummer, David Blackshire, but he thought if he wasn't in Roxx Gang, he'd be in some other shine band.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're a drummer.
Yeah.
It's not quite as easy as you think, you know.
True.
No, you got to freaking do your job.
And those guys didn't understand the groundwork that Brett and my brother Brett, who's managed my career since day one, you know, we laid a lot of groundwork.
Absolutely.
You know, we were paying for an entertainment lawyer and a publicist and all that stuff. And those guys
they don't know.
really have a concept of that.
Yeah.
How do you think we got here and that we're
Right.
able to accept payment? This is a thing, guys, you know.
Yeah.
But hey, they're out there living their best lives. So that kind of unfolds due to musical climates like we're talking about.
Yeah,
and
the whole Roxx Gang name
Mojos
started to get to be baggage, you know.
Yeah.
So one night, it was my old lady's birthday, and we took over in St. Pete on Central. There used to be a bar called the Voodoo Lounge. I think you were there
Oh
that
yeah,
night.
oh yeah. I might have been there that night.
And because I remember running into you in a grocery store or something, and you were going, "Oh, I dig what you're doing, Daddy-O." And, I said, "Leave the whole Roxx Gang thing behind." We called ourselves like the Mojo Gurus Country, Western, and Blues Review, and we did a bunch of old blues songs and stuff, and we had a blast. And then the transition from Roxx Gang to the Mojo Gurus was a little messy because Roxx Gang, one of their second to last album was called Mojo Gurus. And I had a song called Mojo Guru. And then when it came time to ditch the whole Roxx Gang thing, I thought that was a good name for the band. And then for a very brief period of time, Mojo Gurus would open up for Roxx Gang. We did
Okay.
double shift, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty funny because I would hear people
I think there was a state theater show
as I
there.
was,
Okay. Yeah.
as I was approached, as you know, we'd do our Mojo Guru set, and then I'd go back and change my clothes, you know, and as I was approaching the stage as Roxx Gang, I'd hear people go, he looks just like singer in the other band. And when I was on stage as the singer of the Mojo Gurus, I go, I want to thank Kevin Steele. Awesome. He taught me everything. Awesome. And then we just became the Mojo Gurus. And then I was just hell-bent on proving that I was more than a hair band singer, you know? My musical taste, I was a kid when I wrote my first songs for Roxx Gang and stuff. And over the years, I was getting more into like blues and rhythm and blues, or at least rock and roll, influenced by those things. And, like I said at the beginning, I knew the window of opportunity for being a singer in a glam rock band, as glam as Roxx Gang was. I didn't want to be. I wanted to make this last. I wanted to play music till I was an old man in a cool suit, which I guess I am now. And, but I knew I couldn't be that image that I projected as Roxx Gang's lead singer. I didn't want to be doing that at, late mid-30s, late 30s, 40s. Yeah. I didn't want to do it. And I saw that my idols who started the successful ones and the ones who I had respect for, the ones that had a little bit of integrity, evolved. Yeah. And so that's what I did. And then a lot of the Roxx Gang fans did not accept the Mojo Gurus at all. At all. Even the Roxx Gang album that was called Mojo Gurus, I was like writing like a country song or something Johnny Cash influence.
It was starting to happen.
Yeah.
It was happening during Roxx Gang.
Yeah. And people already were, I liked the first album. I liked the second one, but after that. And then I've always been very selfish about my songwriting, completely right, just to please myself.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if people, can jump on the train,
great.
But if they can't, I can't.
On to the next one.
I can't go on. I can't go. And I did not want to be, 40 or, to me, it would be completely uncomfortable and awkward singing, Scratch My Back or Need Your Sex or those songs at my age.
Yeah, it's like, that's what can happen. I mean, I wrote a few songs throughout the decades and did records. Sometimes you can end up working for a song instead of it working for you, like meaning having to perform it and and so best to nip that and work it out sooner than to experiment with trying to drag it along. Cause I could really understand that vibe, but you're no longer in that space, and that's just.
And when did you start doing Mojo Gurus? When was that transition? What year about?
I think it was in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Every Mojo Gurus album was on a different label. Each time we'd get an independent label, and each one we'd get just a little bit better deal, Second to last Mojo Gurus album was called Shakin' in the Barn, and Jack Douglas produced that album.
Right, I remember that.
And here's Jack Douglas.
Where did you work? Where did you record that at? What facility?
We recorded that with George Harrison.
Panda. That's where I first met you a long time ago during that session.
And
that was
George had a relationship with Jack because they'd worked on some Cheap Trick thing together.
Yeah.
So, but Jack, Cheap Trick, Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Ted Nugent, the New York Dolls was my some.
So it's full circle.
John Lennon.
So it's coming full circle. After he cuts the cord on Roxx Gang, he's working with the original influence of your, producer. That's really cool.
Jack Douglas was working with John Lennon on that show.
Wow.
So this is one of those tricky situations where my band is always, we're not a band that goes into the studio and experiments. Like, we were always really our songs were well rehearsed and had been played live before we ever went in the studio. And I've always had a very clear vision of how I want my songs. You get in a studio with somebody like Jack Douglas, and how do you tell him,
right,
I don't really like that idea.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You got to give it a shot because he might be here. And you got to get there first, maybe. I don't know.
I'll be
that's a tough
honest,
one.
like, I never went into a project with being more excited about a project than I'm going to work with Jack Douglas. This album's going to sound incredible. But coming out of it, I was a little disappointed. And me and Jack definitely bumped heads. And he was of a whole different lifestyle philosophy than mine, is all I'll say. Outside the studio, me and Jack would have never hung out, put it that way.
Yeah.
And in the studio, how do you tell Jack Douglas? Like,
Right.
I'm sure you found a way to a couple of times. I have a feeling you did.
He wanted us to record the song I mentioned that was called Mojo Gurus. And we'd already put it out. And he wanted us to put it out on his album because he liked it so much, right? And I was like, Jack, we already, what are we going to put out the same song on our next album?
Yeah.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
And then plus he said, I want you to add one more line to each verse, which threw off, for me, the complete flow of the, imagine writing a song and then he goes, add one line to each verse.
You're like,
I already built
the rhythm of the song.
Yeah.
Can't we have people chanting that?
And so it got to be where I was like, I did it. And then when he left, we didn't put it on the album,
Yeah, it didn't feel right, man.
And he had some crazy ideas. He wanted us to, I had a song called Wild Wild Women, and he wanted to use the intro to that as an intro, some of that Orson Welles War of the Worlds thing, which had nothing to do with Wild Wild Women. They were from another planet, And then he wanted us to record. He had a radio show at the time. He might still have. And he said, okay, when he first sat down with us, he said, I'll do this record under one condition. You have to record. He wanted us to put these two. One was a song. It was something from West Side Story, an instrumental. And then part of the theme song there's a Frank Sinatra movie called The Man with the Golden Arm.
Yeah.
He wanted us to do the theme to that and like do this medley like that and this West Side Story thing. I can't remember. But
what the shit?
It was way
hard as hell.
Wheelhouse, and I didn't put that on the album either. I don't think
Did he want you to perform it or clip it and run it in?
He wanted us to record it because he wanted to use it for his radio show as the theme song for his radio show, which would have been great to have something like, we recorded the theme song, did you? But when we got done with it, it was like, this sucks, man.
He just let you guys go in there and rip something out.
Yeah, but then the funny thing was, about 2 years later, Joe Perry put out a solo album, and sure enough,
he got
him to record.
He got him.
Wow. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
He'll do it. It will happen.
He's not backing off of this West Side Story thing.
Yeah.
Joe probably just went, fuck it, I'll do it. She just quit talking about it.
Right.
Joe Perry. Now, let me preface this story with, when I was like in my high school years, I worshipped at the altar of Joe Perry and Steven Tyler. That was 70s Aerosmith, and I thought
Toys.
back then when they were the shit.
Absolutely.
Toys.
Absolutely.
And and Roxx too, man. That was a great album. And the Mojo Gurus opened up for a Joe Perry project at the State, right here, State Theater.
Cool.
And they weren't one of those bands that weren't that cool about giving you a lot of room to set up in front of them to begin with. Yeah. And then Joe Perry had the biggest pedal board I've ever seen in my life.
And just sitting in the middle of the
stage. It was like stage left was completely Joe Perry's pedal board.
Oh, wow.
And, for better or worse, I'm a performer on front man, I like to move around.
Need a little space.
Yeah. And that was not my most comfortable. Because, he was like a hero. Last thing I need to do is step on Joe Perry's pedal board.
Right. Yeah.
Slip on it. So lots of records with Mojos, man. It's quite a discography.
Yeah, and then we had a lineup change in Mojo Gurus where the original guitar player, Jeff Vitolo, exited and Doc Lovett came in. And Doc Lovett was a great guitar player, He knew his way around a fucking fretboard, but he wasn't the most. Dot never wrote a single song with me.
Oh.
I took over the songwriting chores 100%.
You always seem to be fiddling with
And I'm
riffs.
not a guitar player, so that's something I realized very early on. I read this article in a rock magazine, and I think I want to say it was Ozzy Osbourne or something, who was saying how he used to sing his musical ideas to his guitar player.
Yeah.
And I've always worked with, some shit hot guitar players.
Sure.
And all of a sudden I was like, I can do, cause like when I write lyrics, I already have a melody in mind. And then I started hearing like, well, I know what I want the guitar to be playing. And I would just come in and go, hey, wait, I got this song 9 lines and it goes like this. Nah, 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 nah.
Boom,
And
fire
you
it
do
up.
it,
Let's
right?
go. That'll
Right.
work. Yeah.
I didn't have anything to do with the solos, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Michael Jackson wrote all that shit that way.
100%.
I mean, he had some basic playing abilities, but he would get on the mic and just start doing and he could do the drums and the bass with it. They were saying this guy would just get the groove would start coming out of his mouth.
Uh-huh.
He'd just start, however.
So the more I did that, the better I got at it. And pretty soon I didn't need a writing partner. There was one song that he had already had written that he showed me, and I said, you need to make the chorus, the verse, and the verse, the chorus. I wrote a bridge for it, and I wrote all new lyrics, and that was his sole creative. I shouldn't say creative. He played a hell of a guitar, but I mean, writing
contribution to the writing, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Doc, I guess he had a brother that lived out in New Orleans, and he was close with him. And then somebody in their family died, and they got a bunch of money. And Doc decided he was going to move out to New Orleans so he could be with his brother, be with his family. And it's pretty bad when the Mojo Gurus are your anchor. When we're the ones keeping you
I got
grounded.
that. Doc was a dear friend of mine. And
when he got out there,
when he went out there, I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Because he had things home here that kept him on track. Yeah.
And so,
now he had some money in his pocket and he's in NOLA.
and it was no good.
It didn't last long.
It did not end well. I'll be honest, by that time, I was getting to an age where I was like, the idea of the Mojo Gurus was a single guitar band. Roxx Gang was a little different with 2 guitar players. When you got a single guitar band and you have to replace your guitar player, I mean, that changes your whole freaking band, And like, I just wasn't up to teaching somebody like our whole catalog of songs and stuff. And like, it just was too daunting for me at the time. At first I was going to keep going. Then the whole prospect of the work I saw in front of me, it was, so I took some time off. He diagnosed me with a brain tumor. Okay.
Whoa.
I started getting a hellacious pain in the side of my face, and I thought it was something dental-like.
About 2020.
I don't know. It was 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, sure.
20,
And
23.
long story short, I ended up getting a MRI. Sure enough, I had like a golf ball size brain tumor, and it was benign, thank God. But I still had to have it removed, so I had brain surgery.
Wow.
Right? So, and they said it'd been growing in there for 20 years.
Holy shit.
Jeez, man. It went through the whole ride with you, man. It was.
I'm at home. It was like waiting for Bo Hill. I found a surgeon that I thought this is the guy, but he was like booked. I had to wait several months for my surgery, right? So in that time, I'm working at, I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that I'm going to have brain surgery.
Yeah, that's something to think about.
And one day I'm on my laptop, and all of a sudden I get this sensation up my left arm, right? So a blood vessel burst in my head. They call it a brain bleed. It's like a stroke. My brain surgeon said it was totally unrelated.
What?
To my tumors.
What?
I hit the brain.
Hit the brain lotto.
Brain bust lottery.
Jeez.
When you have a brain bleed, as your body is absorbing the blood that's been released from the some of it hits your brain and it's painful as shit, man. So I had to go through that. And then I had the brain surgery and I had to recover from that. And luckily I had a very quick recovery. But like immediately afterwards, the stroke thing really took me back worse than the brain surgery. But, you know, for a while, it's like, it took my legs out from me. Like I had to walk with a walker for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
But I came back. They couldn't believe how quick I came back.
Good. Yeah.
Which, as long as we're getting in depth and you want my history?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the reasons that I was able to get through that is I have a very strong power of denial.
Yeah.
Which started when I was 8 years old. My mother was murdered. Okay. Up until the time I was 8, I had a freaking Leave It to Beaver childhood, right? I lived in a suburb of Cleveland called Euclid, and I couldn't ask for a better childhood, right? My father, who had been a prosecutor and a defense attorney at different times, and ended up getting elected as a municipal judge, right? When I was 8 years old, my brother and I had bedrooms on the upper floor of our house. Someone entered our house downstairs and came into my parents' room and shot my mother in the head, died instantly. Woke up 8 years old to a house full of police.
What the
right?
fuck?
So luckily for my brother and I, my mother's parents lived right down the street from us. And they were like, I saw them every day. They were like a second set of parents. And they kind of stepped in, and it was good for them too, because it was their daughter that they lost, their only daughter. And so,
yeah, man.
Brett and I, so
Take care
having
of you
their
guys.
daughter's
Yeah.
kids was, helped them a lot.
Yes. I
And
can see that.
it helped us a lot. And, but it built up, first of all, it built an incredible bond between me and Bride, because we went through a lot following my mom's death. My dad remarried right away, and it was like the wicked stepmother scene,
Yeah.
right?
Throw that in there.
When I was 14, my mother's murder had unsolved all this time, right? When I was 14, my grandparents in the meantime moved me and Brett, got custody of us and moved us down to Florida. That's how I ended up in Florida. When I was 14, we got a visit from the Cleveland police, and they were arresting my father for being the mastermind behind this thing. And just the other day, the actual trigger man got put in witness protection. He got off for testifying against my father and two of his clients that he went to set up this whole thing, because he had been a criminal lawyer and he knew all kinds of
Yeah, I'm sure he met some people.
And I just got news like a week ago that this guy, the actual trigger man, has committed suicide just like a week ago.
What the fuck?
I'd like to think some guilt might have part of that, but I doubt it.
I don't think you're going to find much of that, but
No pun intended. It steeled me, hardened me.
I could imagine
You
so.
know.
Yes.
And
this seems to be recurring for you in your journey, you know, not of that magnitude, but a very similar theme of setbacks from
if
losses
you
like
know that, then there's all kinds of clues in my songs throughout the years about it. But I never talked about it for years and years, because it's just not the kind of, you move down to Florida.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of thing you open with when you're making new friends.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one time do you know Blackie Ray?
Yes.
Well, I don't remember the name of the magazine she was writing
Right,
for, but
she's a
she was
writer.
interviewing me, and I don't know, all of a sudden a story came pouring out of me, and like, whew, it felt like a big weight had been lifted just to talk about it
Yeah.
and to get it out in the open.
Then what? She printed it. It was all good.
And then, so since then, I'm not really shy about talking about it, but
Yeah.
it's not something again,
Yeah.
bring up, but
Sure.
if somebody's talking about, if you want to know what makes me tick, you know, I think maybe you got to know that, you know.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And music,
It's a lot.
I know this sounds kind of like highfalutin, but it's the truth. Music was a huge escape for me from my shitty reality
Oh, yeah.
back in those days. And glam rock in particular, I had a buddy, Mike Battaglia, Italian kid, and he had a big sister. And one day we had a library at our school where you could go in and put on headphones and listen to albums. And one day he brought a Lou Reed Transformer, Mott the Hoople, Mott, and David Bowie, Rise and Fall.
Oh, yeah, that was 4 hours.
And I was like, and I just was like looking at those album covers. I mean, it looked like Spaceman, you know.
Yeah.
And glam rock was like, you know, I did a lot of reading back then, which I think has helped me with my lyric writing.
Absolutely.
And books were a huge escape, and music was a huge escape for me. And one of my motivations, besides chicks, was I just hoped that in like some small way that I could provide an escape for some kid
Yeah.
in a shitty situation, that, you know, the kind of escape that I found.
Excellent, man. And I would almost guarantee several, you know.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you guys look
I've
like,
gotten a lot of letters.
you
over
guys
the
came
years
out
and
looking
stuff,
like
and
fucking Lord of the Flies. Fucking bunch of vampires up there, you know, killing. Their kids were into that.
There's this is a weird thing. All of a sudden I got a call one day, or my brother did, Steele Management. And he put me through to him. And he goes, hey, this kid who works for me, and he's a aspiring author. They lived in Chicago. He's putting out his first book. And it's about you. It's a vampire novel. And the main character is called Kevin Steele the vampire. And he wrote a whole series of vampire books.
Wow.
If you ever come over to my house, I'll show them to you.
That's cool.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
Hardly.
Yeah.
He wrote a series of vampire novels where the group of vampires are the Hollywood vampires. And they, in the book, like they're also a band, and they're playing Roxx Gang songs, and like in the big forward or whatever, in the beginning where he's thanking people.
Yeah.
Like it's like Anne Rice, Kevin Steele.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
And to be the main character in a vampire novel,
Awesome.
that's cool as shit.
Hell yeah, that's cool as shit. That's amazing.
That is awesome. You are truly successful. You are, man. And you're staying with
I wish
it.
my bank account reflected that.
You can't do nothing with that later on anyway. What you're creating is going to last a lot longer. So now the story continues.
That's right.
Kevin Steele's release on Steel Records.
So if you had asked me a year ago, I probably would have told you I was done with all this. And then I met this cat named Billy Summer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
How did you meet Billy?
so the first time I met him was actually I saw a picture of him on Facebook wearing a Roxx Gang t-shirt.
Yes. All
And
right.
I wrote something about thanks for what, representing. And then I ran into him at Mimi's memorial,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
and a mutual friend introduced us face to face. And I was like, oh, here you're the new hotshot guitar player in town, And, well, first I went walking by and I heard somebody go, there he is, there's the man, or something like that. And I turned like, who's this punk? And then he was going, and then, we were introduced, and, I hear you're the new hot track. Oh, I don't know about that, he said, but he goes, if you ever need me for anything. So I liked him, and I went to this thing at Tarpon Springs. It was like a hippie fest or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm old enough. I wasn't old enough to be a hippie, but I was old enough to be a little kid looking at the hippies and going, I want to grow my hair.
Right. Let's go into that.
And then I invited him to my house because I had all this gear from Roxx Gang days. It's like, I'm never going to wear these fucking patent leather pants again. I'm never going to wear these snakeskin lip service pants again. And I thought, I don't know, I had all this stuff, and maybe he would, you know?
Yeah.
And so I invited him over to my house, and we started talking. And even though I hadn't played in years live, I never stopped writing because it's a lot cheaper than therapy. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I never stopped writing songs. I really enjoy writing songs. And every once in a while, when I would write one that I thought was a really good one, I would think, to what end, man? Nobody's ever going to, it would bum me out a little bit. I think, nobody's ever going to hear the song, you know? And then he came over and he found out, you know, he said, so what are you doing? And I told him what I just told you guys. And he said, well, why don't you come? He has a home studio. Why don't you come over and let's record a couple of songs? And I thought, that might be fun. What do I got to lose, you know? And everything came together so quickly and so naturally that all of a sudden 2 songs turned into 5 songs, 5 songs turned into 10 songs. Next thing I knew, I had a freaking album. Billy played all the guitars, most of the bass, sang a good deal of the backup vocals, engineered the album, and co-produced the album with me, right?
Cool. Right
so
on.
It's no exaggeration to say that without Billy's talent, time, and encouragement, this album would have never happened.
Well, look him up, guys. Billy Summer.
We,
henceforth.
It says that we call ourselves the production. It says produced by the Cosmic Twins, right?
Cool.
And the reason we say that is because I'm sure you either know or have seen on TV or something how twin siblings, like the way they finish each other's sentences and stuff. Well, I would have a musical idea that I was trying to convey to Billy, and he would finish my thought before I could even, you know, we were just like really fucking simpatico, you know?
Yeah.
And I love the kid, man. I'm telling you, the album would not have happened.
Oh, he's super
really
talented.
And this is really an effort at, I guess, what's the word? Serendipity?
Sure.
A serendipitous production, because there was me and Billy, and then he brought in other people. Have a friend for years, Adam Turkel. Do you know Adam?
Yeah.
He's a local artist who did the album cover.
Cool.
This was done from a photo that Linda took. The 2 tarot cards on the back, the Magician and the Fool. I feel at various times like cards.
Awesome. So it's
you know, music is magical, man.
Yep.
Music
100%.
can transport you to a different time.
It's a time machine.
Change your fucking mood like that. It can empower you. It can devastate
it
you.
reaches everything. Yeah.
And as far as live music, just like a magic show, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And then the Fool, any lead singer is like a court jester. He's a fool.
You gotta be.
Yeah. And anybody who's done it as long as I have has got to be a fucking fool. So I thought those 2 songs were
Great,
awesome,
man.
yeah.
Freaking looks great. What about that vinyl? Let's get a look at that.
Red
Look at this,
vinyl.
guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll tell you another funny story. There's a song on here.
Yeah.
There's a local guy who played all the keyboards on this record. His name is Steve Peak. Do you know him?
I don't know that guy.
I know you know Natty Bond.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Natty Moss Bond. That's her husband, Steve Peak.
Okay.
You ever meet Steve?
Okay.
So Steve had played on the last Mojo Gurus, done the keys on the last Mojo Gurus CD. Before that, we was lucky enough to, I met at Morrisound Studios one day. I met the guy who used to do all the keyboards on the last few Roxx Gang and the first few Mojo Guru albums, a guy named Howard Helm. And Howard Helm had played in the Ian Hunter band, Ian Hunter being the lead singer of Mott the Hoople. And so that's right up my freaking alley. But anyways, I was on the phone one day with Steve, and we were talking about the songs that he was going to play on. And I was letting him know like what I was looking for out of him. And I said, okay, I got one more song here I want you to play on. It's a little different than the other songs. It's not a rocker. It's a ballad, and it's kind of melancholy. As a matter of fact, it's called Sad, Sad Song. And it's about my life. well, he said, what's it about? Oh, yes, that's that song. What's that about, Kevin? And I said, well, it's a song about regrets and misfortune and all the times I've let down the people in my life that I care the most about and all the mistakes that I've made. And there was a pause, and Steve said, so it's a long song. Fair enough. It was. Got this cool insert, another photo by my girl.
Check it out.
Nice.
This is, man,
Yeah, that's super
this is how the deliverables were in a purer time.
Yeah.
So the record, Kevin Steele, Steele Records, One Thing Left to Do.
My first solo album.
First solo album, hell of a freaking production, guys, and vibe. Snake Charmer's just fucking creepy and cool as shit.
Thanks.
I love it. You know, as a songwriter, you hear those songs that kind of piss you off that you didn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Snake Charmer was the
Cool.
first.
Right on, brother. Kevin, awesome talk, dude. What a journey. And these reoccurring tests, I almost see. And you've learned to become an excellent, you said you're defiant. You said, I deny.
Denial. Helps me get through.
Well, that's really creating your own reality. And you are a master, sir, of your reality and an inspiration and success.
Absolutely.
All right. Goals.
Absolutely.
You got to have Kevin Steele goals. Stay with it. Go through the storm. Sail through the storm.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Hold me up as an example.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. We got Kevin. And so that'll wrap it up. And just to give everyone a reminder, Kevin Steele is 476 years old. Vampire from
Vampire, indeed.
Transylvania area, but he came to New York when, what was it, like the 1600s? I think.
1600.
Yeah,
One more thing I'd like to say.
absolutely.
We got to get this in. The record drops February 27th.
27th.
Friday, February 27th. And on that same night, we're having a record release concert in St. Petersburg at Bayboro Brewing.
Beaver, okay, cool.
And I got an all-star band, Billy.
What time's the show getting started?
Saints of Saturn open up
Kick-ass band too, guys.
at 8 o'clock, and I guess we'll be going on around 9.
9 o'clock, Bayboro. Feb 27, live.
Come down. It's going to be a hell of a rock and roll show.
One Thing Left to Do,
We're going to play
live.
the entire album.
Oh, great.
And we're to bring deep in there and harass
Just might be a
Absolutely.
surprise.
Cool.
Well, guys, look it up. Spotify, everywhere. Speaking of everywhere, he's been everywhere, man. He's been everywhere. Thank you so much for coming, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.